Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the European Racing Series Grand Prix here for the kickoff of the season. We're in Australia, as is always the case, and it is myself, Mr. Ben Rwaggy McConnell, joined by the awesome David Fossetti Time Tate. How you doing?
Bloody crikey, mate! Thanks for the introduction, Cobber.
It's alright, mate. It's alright.
We're in a land down under with terrible accents. And,
We are, and everything's upside down, but everyone seems to be okay.
well, it's a well-known fact that F1 cars can drive upside down, so that will not be a problem.
It's true. It is true.
Yeah, it is true. We're here finally.
Yeah.
Seems like forever. I think we had 3 test races, and finally the main event. Although nobody out in the first minute though.
No. I mean, there's been a long time coming for people to get the setups ready, for people to work out the strategies and any other sort of, first race little cobwebs they need to brush off. We have got now finally a very active pit lane. There's lots of cars actually making their way out onto the circuit. And it wouldn't be an ERS Grand Prix if I didn't chuck you under the bus. I want to hear then, what is your 1, 2, 3?
Just quali was speaking.
Yeah.
No. Oh yeah, Rainbow is there in the Renault. So Renault P1, Embassy P2. Sorry, no, Bottas Gang P2, Embassy P3.
So it appears my broadcast camera isn't working. Every time I go to broadcast, it takes me to the pit lane, which is a little bit annoying.
Yeah, I've got the same issue.
Ah, okay. Never ever seen
Oh, keep flicking between drivers. I think it sorts itself out.
There we go, we're good.
Yep.
So, yeah, Vex is the first one out on the circuit. He's going to be the first one to actually chuck a time on the board, or at least we hope so, unless he invalidates. This is a circuit where penalties are actually quite paramount here. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that coming into it. So for my top 3, it's quite an awkward one. I don't actually know exactly who is looking feisty and looking fast. We saw that Lando's Milkman seems to be really fast all of a sudden. I don't know where he's got the pace from, but suddenly, last season he was tier 3. He's skipped a step and gone to tier 1. This guy is ready, and Vexit is. Do you want to take us through a hot lap?
Yeah, sure. Same story with Azure with the jump from tier 3 to tier 1, but into the first corner and the second. Take as much track as you can. Now you activate, well, you don't activate overtake mode, but you will in the race. Activate the DRS down into turn 3, the only real overtaking spot, as Williams getting out the way and a little bit edgy on the power, but into 3 and 4, and now flat these days. It wasn't back in the day. Bringing it close as you can across as much curb as you can take. There we go. And a nice calm right hand turn into the, I think this is the Brabham? I can't remember, but yeah. Into this nice little bit on the back straight now. As close to a back straight as you'll get. Into, I think, 11 and 12, which is the most technically challenging corner and where I expect to see most people invalidating pick up penalties, and it was very close there for Exit. Into the third DRS zone now. Into the nice slow bit of track where you can maybe conserve a bit of battery and a bit of fuel for your attack later on. Almost flat through here these days, and into the final last 2 corners nice and slow. Be very careful on the power. You've got one last corner to go. Don't unwind that power too far, and he's made it. No dramas, and a decent 1:19.4. Very fast.
But, I mean, I struggle to even get into the mid-20s. This guy has just chucked in a 19.4, and Bottas Gang's immediately gone and beaten it. Yes, 0.006 of a second, but in a race like this where thousands mean everything, that's good going. Luca with a 121.8, not quite as good as he needs to be, as he's got time in 120.0. Beaker's just beaten that with a 119.9. Lots more cars coming to line. We have a house driver, which I believe is Yonti. Yes, it is. He's gone P5. We've got a Mercedes, which is not spicy. It is, in fact, Hazard, who's done a 120.2. Lots of times coming on the board. A fair few in the mid-19s.
Yeah, Bottas Gang 6 thousandths ahead of Exit, and just passing him on track there as well. Bottas Gang, my prediction for P2, so to see him leading early on is not a surprise to me. And I don't think it'll be a surprise come the end of the session either. He'll be on his in-lap now and Chan now, someone else who was really quick in the final test race at Zandvoort. He's down P4, leapfrogging Beaker. Azure and Lando's Milkman, as you said, both tier 3 drivers last season, 6th and 7th, close together and in the same team. Although they have just been split by Spicy, a previous champion.
Yep. I'm just looking at the times that everybody's chucked in. Obviously, we are still waiting for 5 drivers to actually chuck a time on the board. Copy's doing his hot lap now. They're actually pretty close together, aren't they? If you look at it. You know, obviously, Bottas Gang is quite the way up there. He's got Vexy right there on the back of him. A little bit of gap then to Jacobo, obviously in P3. Chan then round the back of him too. Beaker right there as well. But then look at this. It's so close right the way down to P11. We're literally talking 2 tenths separating all of them, which is fantastic. And we're only very early into the qualifying stages. We've not yet got to the point where the track is at its most evolved. You know, there are people who won't have actually done their pre-race little warm-up, so they're trying to shake off any little jitters that they've got coming into this race, and that's crucial when it comes to this. Again, you mentioned it earlier, the chicane at turn 12 is going to be the area where most people will invalidate. It's also going to be an area where most people, if you're going to DNF, it's going to be there because it's so hard on the car that if you make even just a slight mistake or run a little bit too wide, you're dead. There's no way to recover that.
Yep, absolutely. Well, you're going to need a miracle if you do want to recover it. But yeah, running out on the curve there is the norm, and it always carries that little 5% one. It was invalidated. Never mind. Oh no, it wasn't. No, he's in P4. Never mind. Come through where I expected it to. As Ben also leaves the session.
Am I back?
You are back on voice chat.
Yeah, my network dropped. Annoying.
Well, no real change. We've got Copy in P4, as I just said. But Rainbow now on a hot lap. Danico coming out of the pits. I think he invalidated one of his laps. He might be coming back in. No, he's going for another one. But Rainbow now midway through his lap. We're right on board with him. Getting a wheel on the dirt there, but didn't really seem to affect him.
So, sorry, the reason my network dropped, and the reason for my silence there was I was just discussing with the driver who now has the host. So I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there is an issue with F1 2020 at the minute where if we have a formation lap, the host of the session will actually be able to jump the start without any issues. The lights will go out for them, and then about half a second later, the lights will go out for everyone else, which, obviously, again, I said earlier, this is a race where thousandths of a second make a massive difference. So having that extra bit of time to react and take off will make a huge difference. So I think Dennis is the one who's got the leader. I've given him heads up, so he knows to sit tight until everyone else leaves.
Is that just for the formation lap or for the race?
So it's for the actual race. So if we have a formation lap, then the race start, the lobby leader will be able to jump. So watch out for, so it happened yesterday, but if you watch out for Dennis, so one of the Ferraris has definitely got it. I didn't catch exactly who's got it. I think it's Dennis because he usually catches hers whenever I disconnect. So yeah, just watch out off the start. He will probably jump away, but then I imagine he will wait. He said he's going to wait anyways, we'll see. But Bottas Gang's already out on another hot lap. He has, in fact, invalidated, so he's going to have to go again or reset his tyres. With 9 minutes to go the session, I think he'll probably just commit and then maybe do one more lap and just make sure it doesn't actually count. Or bring himself back in and then go for that final push in a little bit later. But we'll see what he does now.
Yeah, Rainbow, another one to invalidate in turn 12. So he's down in P20, but looked quick. Looked very relaxed, actually. It has to be said. He wasn't sort of making the car squirrel around at all. He was short shifting early on the throttle and a very boring, dramatic, well, not dramatic lap. Undramatic, if that's a word. Verstappen, the only other guy not to set a lap, is now going through turn 12 and makes it cleanly, but a little bit kick of oversteer there. maybe a sign of things to come once those tyres start getting worn down in the race.
We do have Yonti though coming to the line. He's actually about to commit to his lap time. I'm looking to see if it's going to be a 119. It might just about. No, he's outside of it. It's a 20.192. It's an improvement on what he did previous, but currently not enough.
Verstappen about to come across the line. He is P13 just behind. So a very, very tight midfield battle, it seems. And actually Chan has improved. He's up to P3. And less than a tenth, only just less than a tenth behind Bottas gang now. Endis has just kicked himself up there. And Azia as well improving up to P6 on his Tier 1 debut. And very, very good showing so far from him. Really impressive.
Yeah. It's Jacobo's turn now to come to the line. This looks like it should be really good. Is it going to be 119? It is. It's only just slightly improved by 8 thousandths of a second, but an improvement's an improvement, so we'll be happy for him nonetheless.
Yep, and it's, you know, it's up to him at the end of the day if he knows it was a good lap or a bad lap. I mean, you can have a lap that you feel is flawless and end up P15, or you could end up P8, for example, and know that you've left 3 tenths out there, so only he knows that. Hope for his sake that he has left 3 tenths down there somewhere.
Now, I did have a quick glimpse at the telemetry for Lando's Milkman. He was actually showing purple in Sector 2. So we'll see now as he's coming through into the final corner. He gets very much on that curb there. Is this going to be our new pole sitting time? It's definitely not, but it is an improvement. It stays P9, but there's still hope yet for him to push that up even further.
I mean, once again, a very good lap and getting himself in there as Chan, again, finds another 10th.
Yeah,
and I don't think, well, I think that's his 3rd run. So, wasn't it him in Zandvoort, correct me if I'm wrong, that did 3 laps on the soft? On the same soft tyre? I think it was.
I don't remember. Oh, has he just had a crash? Did I just see a crash? I think Spicy may have just collided with
Jay. Team Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So yeah, damage on Jay's car. Yeah.
Not good.
Yep.
Copy then. He's coming through into the final 2 corners now. He's decided to abort this lap. He's already done a nice 19.5 and he only has to improve a couple of tenths to get himself on current pole position. But obviously, with 5.5 minutes to go, or just under 6 minutes, sorry, to go remaining of the session, we're actually pretty much at that point now where we are at what I like to call the calm before the storm. You know, they are starting to think about where they can improve their times, what areas were they struggling in, where is somebody else gaining, what sectors are you gaining, because obviously they've all got that information available. It's just how you read it and what you do with it that matters.
Yeah, I'm the kind of guy who doesn't. Oh, Beaker has a big spin there. He's messed that up. Down in P10, he's just had a big spin coming into the start of Sector 2. Doesn't look like he's going to impede anyone. He's got an Alfa Romeo coming up, but yeah, as I was saying, I don't like looking at sort of data. It's all about what you can do with the car in qualifying. I don't like looking at what other people are doing. I feel like it's a bit of an unnecessary distraction. Focus on yourself, focus on your strategy is what I would do. But then again, I keep invalidating qualifying, so what do I know?
Well, I mean, this is the thing, is it's mainly in an official F1 team, you would be having an engineer who would be looking at the data and they would be telling you very explicitly, like, you are struggling in this area and here's why. What you need to be doing is pushing a little bit further by either accelerating that smidgen earlier, braking a little bit later, carrying more momentum, whatever. Obviously these drivers don't all have that available. Some of them may, if they've got their friends looking out for them. You'd have to hope and pray that they know something about data analysis, because to be able to do that when it comes to these sorts of games is actually pretty difficult. As Fragioco coming up to the line, it's done a 121.3 previously. This time it's a 120.1, and that jumps him up to P12. And I'm actually... Vexit! He's improved! He's put himself on pole again! 119.2. This is great stuff.
Yeah, it seems to be tumbling down. I'm not sure, but I think we might see an 18 at some point. Rainbow invalidating again, so he'll have one more chance, I think. But yeah, Vexit, who slowed right down to let traffic pass. Fair play to him. Chan's now on an outlap, so he will be the next one to try and have an assault at that pole time, and I think he'll have a decent crack at it, to be fair. If his... Oh, never mind. Someone's already gone quicker. It's Luca.
I didn't even know Luca was in here, and already he's just smashed himself up there. 119.091. You know, massive shout out to him for being able to pull off that. Hazard, who's actually this is his first season back. I think he's been gone about a year now in total, as he took a break to go and focus on his studies. His studies are done, or at least for now, and so he's decided he's going to take up racing again. We're not going to see him back to his old ways just yet, because obviously he's got a lot to remind himself, and he's also got to adjust to the new game as well. And setups are obviously such a huge key as well. Hazard currently doing a 120.225, literally 0.003 of a second behind Katak.
Yeah, scruffy first sector from him so far. I hope he can redeem it. I mean, there's a lot of oh no, there's the answer.
Should we look away quickly and just pretend that nothing ever happened?
We didn't see that, although I am still watching it.
Oh, an invalidation there for Bottas going. He's on his outlap anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But it looked like for an outlap, this is quite a quick outlap. And concerningly quick, because there's still 2 minutes 23 seconds of the session remaining. Unless he's planning to do more than one lap on these tyres, which would be suicide in my opinion. Why would he?
He's in a good spot. He's in a good spot right now. He has got his teammate behind him. I'm not sure if they're planning on anything. Luca already done his hot lap, of course. I think we'll see him in the pits, but he's got a lot of space in front of him.
Ooh,
Chan has, I'm assuming, invalidated and therefore retired on track, which might slightly impede Azure here, but he's caught him at a good time.
Well, Azure's on an outlap anyway.
Yeah, safely out of the way. Yeah, I was looking at Bottas Cat.
Yeah, he obviously set provisional pole earlier, which has now been beaten by 3 other individuals, and he only has to improve literally by a couple of tenths to get himself up to P2, or a lot more than that, 4 tenths pretty much. Well, 3 for definite, 4 if you want it to be more comfortable, and ideally we might be seeing him in an 18s.
Yeah, it's impressive so far. Little mistake coming into sector 2, just took a bit of that sausage curb and had to counter steer a little bit, but it's a purple in second sector nonetheless. And absolutely flawless 11 and 12.
Yeah. He really maximized his way through that.
Yeah, he's really impressive. A little bit of a lock-up, but kept momentum really well into the final 2 corners. Just don't spin it.
Which is so easy to do in this game in the lower gears. In the gear 1, 2, it's so easy to just have that back end kick out. Is this going to be a 118? It might actually be. It is a 118.872. That is pole position right now. Can anybody beat it? Realistically, well, Luca can't, Chan can't. Vexit is the only one right now who shows any sort of signs that he can, but anybody can show up on the day.
There's no beating that. I'm sorry, there is no beating that. That I don't see anywhere where he could have really improved. Maybe a couple of thousandths here and there, but I think it'll be a miracle if that lap gets beaten. Vexit running out of time to do it. He's got 12 seconds. I think he'll get across the line, but he's got to get a move on.
I don't think he will. I think there's a few people who are going to miss this. So not only is Vexit likely to miss this, it's also going to be Danica.
Just got it. No, he hasn't. No, he has. He's good. He's good.
Okay. That's very on the limit there. Let's see then, who else is coming up to the line? We have got ourselves a Haas coming to the line. That is not Beaker, that is in fact Yonti, who's decided to bring himself into the pits. Is Rainbow going to actually successfully get a lap? No, he's not.
He's not. It's Jakob coming across the line. And he goes P5. Very good from him.
Yeah, beautiful
now,
jump.
Next one up is your man Beaker, who is invalidated. Yeah, that's a shame.
Let down.
Kartak also invalidated, so I think it's Copy next up. P6 hasn't invalidated. Looks like he's on a pretty good lap. Not an ideal way to take that corner, and he invalidates.
Yeah.
Just turned in too early.
Yeah, carried a lot of pace through there, which, you know, is pretty fine. Just he took it, like you say, a bit too early on the inside. Took that curb. When you hit that curb, that will very much make it very awkward for you to get through that circuit. As Dennis is not looking to improve, he stays P19 into the pits. He goes. Fragioko though, 120.106 right now. He only has to gain a couple of tenths here, and he will climb some places. Ideally, if you want to be on an alternate strategy, you want to be around about P11. But here he comes into the line, and he goes P14.
into the 119s. I don't think he'll be unhappy with that. Hazard has invalidated his lap, I think. Yeah, that's it. That's it for qualifying. Yep. Rainbow
Well,
not getting a lap in.
Yeah, that's actually quite a surprise, to be honest, because he is somebody I would have put on the top step, or at least near it, for the provisional pole at least, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but his consistency is an issue, and that actually doesn't bode well when it comes into this race. We talked earlier about how penalties are such a huge factor here, how you can even very easily lose it, and he lost it on his hot lap. He had damage. Let's hope that doesn't happen in the race.
Yeah, it's tough, but you know, I wrote him off in the test race in Zandvoort. He proved me wrong. I think it was P2 again. So you know, write him off at your peril. He's a really good driver. Hopefully, he's not going to pick up too many penalties during the race, although his qualifying will suggest that he will. But other than that, I think a good opportunity for him to get some points if there's a safety car.
So the rundown real quick is Racing Point 1-2 with Bottas Gang at the very front. Luca right behind him, Vexit P3, Chan P4, Embassy P5, Williams 4-5, which is good, Jacobo in P6, Copy P7, Asia P8, Danica P9, Jay rounding out the top 10 with Spice again best of the rest, then Landos Milman, Beaker, Fragioco, Verstappen, Yonti, Kartak, Hazard, Dennis, and Rainbow, who couldn't get a time on the board, which is, again, we've talked about it a few times. I'm not going to keep, kicking him whilst he's down, but it's a shame that he couldn't pull it together in that little qualifying session. And I'm looking at the skies. That isn't looking too good. Do you think there's going to be rain today, Mr. Full City Time?
Sorry, the mic cut out there. Do I think? Well, it's irrelevant what I think. I hope so. But, it's dry right now. That's all I can tell you. We don't have that information. It's some of the drivers that have that, unfortunately.
I mean, looking at the times,
I hope so.
You would think that it's not going to be, because surely that's done on a dry setup. And if we are going to see rain, likelihood is it's got to be right near the end of the race, surely. No one would choose a dry setup in the qualifying to come into a wet race, even if the rain's going to come very early on, then that just sounds like suicide to me. It doesn't matter how good you do. You could put yourself on pole by a good 3 or 4 seconds. But if you're on a dry setup in a wet race with a heavy fuel load on you, the likelihood is you're going to spin, you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to lose out.
Yeah, I would agree with that logic, but it does look cloudy, doesn't it? That's the only thing.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. However, so those outside the top 10, we have 2 drivers that have gone for the soft tyre, 2 drivers that have gone for the hard tyre, and everyone else has gone for the mediums. Now, the hard tyre is not really required here. I'm pretty certain a one-stop softs to mediums is doable. Obviously, these guys are going to be trying to do the medium softs. I'm looking quite specifically at Lando's Milkman. This guy, I've said it time and time again, this guy has impressed me over the last few weeks. He's really shown he has gained a lot of pace. I don't know if it's just F1 2020 suddenly working for him. I don't know if it's just that he's put a lot of time in. But whatever it is, something has ticked in this guy's brain and he has picked up godly levels of pace. But he's got a lot to do if he wants to get a race win here today. It's kind of the same to be said for the likes of sort of Beaker, Fragioco, and Verstappen behind. There you go. There's actually the Amazon AWS Insights predicted pit stop strategy. Softs hards is what the game believes. We'll see if that is actually true or not, or a mediums hards as well. I don't think you'd want to do a 2-stop here. This isn't really a track where you'd gain much from a 2-stop. The tyre wear is pretty heavy, I guess, but the tyre compounds should sort of cope with that a little bit. I guess we'll see what happens as we get further on into this race.
Yeah, it could be the fact that it's cooler. The track temp will be cooler. It might lend itself to maybe a soft to mediums. I'm going to stick my neck out and say that would be the strategy to go on. But you never know what's going to happen. It's a tight track. The walls are never too far away in Australia, and I would not bet against us seeing a safety car. We might not even get as far as the first corner.
So, quick 1, 2, 3 before we get into it. Go.
Bottas Gang, Luca, Vexit. Keep it as it is.
All right. It's a good. I mean, I agree with you on Bottas Gang. I think his consistency, his natural pace is really, really good. Sorry, the 2-stop strategy was a soft mediums is what the other strategy was, which It's doable. Would you want to? No, not really. But we're going to find out how these guys play this out. The Australian Grand Prix here, European racing style. Let's go. Lights are out, and we have had a pretty slow start here. Not quite as quick as we wanted to do. We've already had a crash there. That was an Alfa Romeo going off. I think that was Vexit. Maybe
no,
not.
it's not Vexit. It's not Vexit. It's Kartak and Verstappen. Yeah, it was Dennis that got the jump start, as you mentioned, for being the host. And Copy has had a moment. He's down to the back of the field, but no damage. So it looks like he might have gotten away lightly. But yeah, the interval a little bit screwed up right now. Dennis making progress. Lando's Milkman down in, I think, about P15, and Hazard gets a big moment coming through turn 4 on those medium tyres. Still waiting for them to warm up.
Yeah, the telemetry will fix itself short.
Oh,
I know it's,
Lando's Milkman.
And I was singing his praise a second ago, saying how everything could go well for him if he just kept himself out of trouble, and he just cannot do that. Left wing is definitely damaged. The right seems to be okay. Either way, he's going to need to bring himself in, because this is a track you can't afford to be driving on without a full front wing, as Danny Ricciardo will tell you from last year.
Yeah, and it's Verstappen that hit him actually facing the wrong way, so he's got damage as well. I think Kartak's gotten away with it. Yellow flag in sector 3. That's Jay. He's out. He's not out, but he's spun exactly where you mentioned he would, or people would in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, that turn 12 is a killer, especially on the cold tires as well. You know. And he's almost lost it again.
Well, we've got a fair bit of a battle going on here as Danico's looking to try and send one.
And he's got speeding as well. So Azir into the pits. New front wing for him. Didn't see him get caught up in anything, so a little bit unlucky. But yeah, Verstappen, Jay, Kartak, and Lando's Milkman all in. So nightmare for the AlphaTauri and Red Bull.
Yeah, and Danico managed to make a move on Fragiaco in towards turn 1, which is great stuff for him now, and he's already trying to look at the back of Beaker. Now, bear in mind, Beaker's on the hard tyre, so the fact that he's where he is right now is massive. He really capitalised on all the mistakes of every other driver on the circuit that fell back. But it obviously means he's naturally under a lot of pressure. Danico looks like he's ready to send one. It's going for the inside here. It's going to be a hard one to make. He just has a little bit of a touch there. Destabilizes Beaker a little bit and also loses the rear end just a touch. And again on the throttle. He's trying so desperately to keep himself ahead. And now Fragiaco's capitalized. He's gone back into where he was before. And Danico's got to do it all over again.
Yep, and it's not an easy track to overtake, so you do have to rely on someone making a mistake. And fortunately for Francesco, that's exactly what Danico just did. And Dennis not too far behind either. So a good day for the Ferraris. A rare good day, I would say, these days.
Yeah, yellow flag sector 2. That is that Azia? It is, it's Azia. He's had a spin.
Facing the wrong way. Well, he's facing the right way now, but no wing damage. I hope he hangs on in there.
We are now, I believe, officially on lap 3, so all the telemetry should be correct on the left-hand side. You'll see, oh, Luca, that is not how you want to take turn 3. You need to get yourself pointing the right direction quickly with all that oncoming traffic, but that's a lot of time lost. It was at racing point 1-2, and just that one slight mistake has cost him, what's that, 5 positions, 6 positions? That is not good.
Yeah. And a lot of runoff there coming to Luca's rescue a little bit there, allowed him to sort of cut across the corner, and he's just got a 3-second time penalty for doing the same. And yeah, those tyres are overheated. He needs to calm down. Mika going past, but Luca decides to brake late, and that's what he does. And to be fair, you don't want to get bogged down behind a car on the hard tyre.
No, definitely not. He had to make that dive, but at the same time, his rear temperatures on the tyres, as you saw when he was making the spins, were like 112 degrees on the rear left, 110 on the rear right. You know, that in itself is terrifying to try and drive. And then to try and make a send-it move like he just did on Beaker was very risky, but high risk, high reward, and he made it pay off.
Yep, but it looks like he's in a lot of trouble. I think he might have a little bit of front wing damage. Not that it's visible, I just saw him understeer like crazy then. And a big train forming behind, actually. Huge train forming behind Beaker.
Well, I mean, Beaker's kind of just stuck in this situation, isn't he? He is on the hard tyres. He's doing a great job of having pace to keep up with the guys ahead. And realistically, he was actually in DRS range of Vexit up until the scrap with him and Luca. Luca obviously getting involved, and obviously that made them lose a lot of time. It is only 1.7 between Luca and Vexit. They are on the same tyres as well. Bika will effectively take race lead when the top 7 decide to bring into the pit lane. It's just, you know, where does that affect later on when he decides to come in himself?
Yeah, you never know with the alternate strategy. The only positive is that Luca is driving off and Vika is being given a little bit of clean air to work with. He's not being bogged down or anything. But I expect that gap to start shrinking once we hit about maybe 6 or 7 laps. And then obviously after that we will start to see the soft runners coming in. But I am watching Luca and he doesn't seem comfortable with the car right now. Maybe his confidence is taking a bit of a hit.
Yeah. I mean, he's bringing the time down in comparison. Is that Fragioka having a bit of a scrap there with Bika? Yes, he is. He's trying to find an inside line.
Just behind as well. Dennis and Rainbow. Rainbow now going for that P11.
It's going to be a hard one. I don't think he can make this work just yet. Obviously, we'll have DRS on the back straight, but all of this train will as well. The person who won't is Bika. He is under attack from Fragioka. Fragioka tried to send it in the beginning of Sector 3.
Dennis has made a mistake. That's almost allowed Rainbow in, but had to turn a little bit more and lost the back end, so it is a straight drag race down into turn 3. Both of the cars locking up, and Dennis giving just enough respect to Rainbow and then chopping his nose off. Debated to the max.
Yeah, but it has cost him. He is outside the DRS range of Danico now, and you know this is a train you don't want to lose. It's a question of, yeah, you got your position back, but at what cost? Is it actually worth it? He's brought himself back in again, so it's just about right. The soft tyres are expected to be lasting about another maybe 3 laps, sort of at a push. I think they'll be bringing themselves in, unless you go into the mediums. So this is something. If we had the likes of another driver we know called Samidia, he is the driver who would take the softs much further than anyone else would, get onto those medium set of tyres, and then take those to the end. And that's doable. That's still doable even here with these drivers. It's just, is there anybody who's actually feeling confident? I'm not looking at Luca for this because he's shredded those tyres to pieces.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Bottas gang seems to have been really smooth and clear, but he's been driving really quickly, it has to be said. He's 3.5 seconds clear of Chan and 7 seconds clear of Embassy. So, yeah, he's been driving smooth. I just wonder if he's been driving a little bit too fast, if there is such a thing. So I expect him to be in early and switch onto the hards. Maybe Embassy might take a punt. He's not someone I've seen got a penalty.
As he's gone. That's not even in the pit lane. That's a massive smash. Oh my word, his entire safety car is out.
Wow.
Yep, that makes sense. That was a huge crash from Azir. His entire front right was just destroyed. His wing was gone as well. And now, this works for some people. You could probably jump onto hards here and take these to the end. This does kind of help those on the mediums a little bit as well. Does this help Bika?
No. Like you said, jump on the hards to the end. That's the strategy now. The 3 people, or the 4 people that can't do that, Lando's Milkman, Verstappen, Yonti, and Bika, because they're already on it. Although actually, it's only Bika and Yonti that are affected by that because they're the only ones that actually started on it. So yeah, nightmare for Haas.
Yeah, I mean, they'll obviously get physical race lead, and I think overall they will still gain positions as a result. But, you know, being on the safety car and Bottas gang being as far ahead as he is, I actually think he's going to come out around about sort of P7, P8, maybe just about ahead of Bika. Yeah, or maybe not, we'll see.
Bad news for Embassy, he's going to have to double stack. So he might drop a couple of positions. He might lose to Jakob here. Maybe even Spicy if he's unlucky.
They lost a decent amount. The engineers are also not going to be ready for it. Denny's getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as well. Not ideal to say the least. Bottas gang's brought himself out right behind Bika.
Rainbow drives through P3 on the medium. That could be a good strategy for him.
It could. Like I was saying, you know, what the sort of style that some idiot would do, for example. He would go on the softs, take him further in the race, and then switch over to the mediums. Well, Rainbow can effectively do that, but the inverse. He can take the mediums, which is already on now, take them to around about sort of lap 18 if you can. Ideally, you want to go to lap 19, and then switch to the softs, take them the final 10 laps, and just blast it all the way home. Yes, he's going to struggle a little bit on the final couple of laps as the tyres will obviously be worn quite down, but it can work. It can work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he can stretch it out now because he's had that. Well, he's going to have these extra couple of laps that aren't at racing speed. They're going to add to that tyre life. But other guy is also Spicy Luca Copy switching onto the mediums. I mean, surely they can't make it from here.
I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, even now, if the race was still going on and they were on the softs already, and even now I'd be like, this is a bit too much to ask to go on to the mediums from here. Yes, you've got some safety car laps, which will help you manage your tyre wear that a little bit more. But at the same time, we're only looking to go about another lap. I think we're obviously not coming in this lap. I think next lap we'll probably be coming in. Another, what's that, 21 laps to do? Surely that's not possible.
Yeah, unlucky for Azja because he was the one person that really did need a safety car, I think. So it's a shame that he was the one that caused it.
It makes you wonder, like, how much time has he spent getting accustomed to the weight of the car? You know, driving time trial, driving open lobbies, doing 5-lap races isn't really going to help you get used to a heavy car. Yes, you can smash it in the qualifying, smash it in the time trial, not a problem. But this is where it matters. If you can't get used, or at least build a setup that works in your favour when you've got this amount of weight on the car, you're going to have exactly what we had today.
Yeah, 100%. And that's something I learned far too late, I think, that there's literally no point making a setup that works for time trial only and finding that when you stick 30 laps of fuel in, it understeers like crazy or oversteers like crazy and forces you to drive in a way that you're not comfortable. So, yeah, my advice would obviously to be open up a multiplayer session on your own and just set it to 90 minutes practice and fill your car up and see what works for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the alternative is you could just go into Grand Prix mode, you know, and stick onto the normal setup like you would in a normal racing league and just get used to it that way. Battling with other cars is also quite effective there too, if you set the AI just right. You know, there's actually quite a massive practice tool available to you. It's just about how you utilize it. So, yeah, that's something we'd recommend, not just to the likes of Azja today, but just drivers in general. That is an optimum way to get good.
Yep, the get good Ben seal of approval there.
Yep,
that's how you do it in these 3 short steps.
So,
safety car in this lap.
Yes, and Beaker's obviously going to have to control this restart, and this is crucial for him because he knows he's got fast drivers behind him. He's got Bottas Gang, who's, yes, he's on the same set of tyres. You've got Rainbow, who's on a softer compound, but they are a bit worn in. So they're not going to be lightning quick, but they are going to be pretty fast. So Bottas Gang needs to get a clean start here. He needs to make sure he protects himself from Rainbow. Rainbow's going to be looking to find an itch in towards turn 1, and then he can scratch it. And Beaker just needs to defend, but he also needs to keep himself out of trouble.
And he also needs to keep a consistent pace under the safety car. He's bottling the field up pretty badly there, so hopefully there's no penalties flying around for collisions.
Well, I've just seen, is that Luca? Oh no, he's just lost the car a little bit. Right, Beaker has decided it's go time now then, so we've restarted this race.
Bad start for Bottas Gang. Rainbow's going to have a chance here. And he actually, no, he doesn't. I like to use the overtake, but this is his only real chance. While these hards are cold, he's got one chance. He's got maybe one lap. As Dennis picks up a time penalty.
Yep, and he hasn't got it. So he just either got caught out or didn't feel as though this was the moment. He's decided to wait. Yes, the hards will take that a little bit longer. Oh, that was Jay getting down the inside of Copy. There was a little bit of contact. I don't think there's any damage. No, his wing looks intact. You got Lando's Miltman who's looking to recover his race, considering how lap 1's fared off for him. He's got a lot of work to do and not a lot of time to do it in.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that big lock up there from Bottas Gang. He's right on the back of Beaker, not giving him a moment's rest as Kartak picks up a penalty, but Rainbow seems to be dropping away. So I think his window has closed now if he wants to get past these guys. As Bottas Gang goes, he spun. Exit of 12, and he's got it going again. I'm not sure if he's got damage. Doesn't look like he's got wing damage, but that'll be a huge dent to his ambitions of 25 points here. He's been forced off the track as well by Dennis. Not really Dennis's fault, but yeah.
And you got Luca and Spicy at it as well. They're going side by side into the second to last. Luca actually has to back out a little bit, but he's got the cutback of Dreams, and he's going to try and drag race him right the way up towards turn one. Luca's run out of ERS, so Spicy will benefit and take that position back. Have a little bit of a defensive move there from Spicy to try and cover the inside off into turn one from Luca. And things are really heating up. Dennis has lost out to Bottas Gang. Bottas Gang's now fired up, and he has to retaliate.
Absolutely, and you know, another safety car probably wouldn't go amiss now. Although the field still is pretty bunched up, but yeah, that's a big shame. But yeah, that's what I was saying about those softs not being warmed up. But Rainbow's still not making any inroads into Beaker's lead. 7/10 is the gap, and Chan very close behind.
Now, I didn't see the situation with Bottas Gang. Did he have contact with Beaker, or was it just a mistake?
No. It was getting on the outside curb of turn 12 and spinning around.
Yeah, that'll do it every time. Danico's actually been right on the back of Fragioco since the restart and hasn't left him anything more than sort of 2.5 tenths. He's there right now. Obviously, we haven't got DRS because this is the first lap of the safety car restart. He's going to have to make sure he's ready to go when we get onto the next area. The next lap, sorry, because once he finishes it, we're going to have the DRS available. His Copy is also in a similar position, his teammate.
Yeah, Copy well out of position, of course, after that moment in the first lap. Not sure what happened. He just cut across the first corner really slowly. Obviously forced out of room or something and just not been able to fire himself up. But he's got a chance on Verstappen here. And he's going to go for it. Looks like Verstappen a little bit laggy, so giving Copy something extra to consider in his overtake. And Jay actually piling on the pressure on his teammate as well. He's going to go around the outside of turn 3. He gets the move done very cleanly. And there's Milkman almost trying to sneak through as well. Drama all the way through the back. And yeah, Verstappen just doesn't look comfortable. That is Jay. Yeah, Jakob. He was pretty high up, if I can remember. Obviously not working those hards like they should. One person that is, though, is Beaker.
Yeah, he is doing a fantastic job right now of just leading this race off that restart. He's kept it all together, but you know, I don't want to commentators curse him, so I'm going to say this very clearly and very cleanly. He has to keep himself very focused and consistent, because here comes Luca. Whoa, that was a flick and a half. He's going to have to take the outside here on Spicy. He's run wide onto the grass. A mistake was made and contact was made. He spanned the car on the circuit. He's onto the grass. That's an unsafe rejoin. Lucky for ghosting for him. All the other cars are not taking any chances, and damage on his car.
Yeah, he went out to New Zealand there. I don't know where he was going. The track was the other way. Yeah, wow. And not sure it's fair to call it an unsafe rejoin, but yeah, almost sort of thought about reversing onto the track and think, no, that's probably not the smartest idea. But Jay is now out of the session. He's done that in the pits. Luca in the pits as well. Whether it's for the same purpose, I'm not sure. Looks like he's going to take on some new tyres and a fresh front wing.
Yeah, it looks like Sector 3. Hazard's got a time penalty. I used to call him, back in the days when he was league racing consistently, I used to call him Captain Consistent. He used to be the man you could rely on to not get any penalties and always gain a... he used to always find his way onto the podium by just keeping himself clean. Bottas Gang's looking for an inside line. We saw Bottas Gang's teammate earlier, Luca, try the same thing. There's a bit of a touch there between them, and the back end again for Bottas Gang. He's struggling so much to keep that car in check, but he's still doing a very good job of keeping on the back of Hazard here. He just needs to wait for the DRS, which is about to arrive for him here. Do not run wide like he did before. He has kept it together. He's decided not to use overtake. This DRS zone is to just keep himself in the gearbox of the Mercedes, but he didn't expect the early break there from Hazard, and that almost caused a collision.
Yeah, Yonti going for a move on Embassy while trying to repass effectively, and he just ran out of road after that third DRS zone into Sector 3. And now he is losing time. Yeah, losing quite a lot of time now. He's down to 7/10 behind. Embassy 1.5 seconds behind his teammates. So it's firmly a battle between these top 3. You've got a fancy Chan at this point. He's the only one on fresh tyres that hasn't pit.
Vexy's going down the inside of Spicy. That's the DRS toe for him there. He's gone straight into it, and he's on the hard tyres, remember. They're the same age of tyre. They're just different compounds. And different drivers, obviously, and that clearly showed there when Vex managed to work his magic, get himself past the Mercedes driver. He's got a lot more to do to close in on Yonti as he's 1.9 seconds ahead.
Yeah, Bottas gang doing exactly what he needs to do. He's just picked up a penalty though, that's unfortunate, but I think the drivers he should be fighting with all have penalties as well. I know Chan does, but a purple first sector from Bottas gang, he's doing exactly what he needs to be doing. Oh, a bit of oversteer there, but he's cracking on nicely.
Yeah, keep an eye out for this top 3 battle. They're all very bunched up now, and I think realistically this is just waiting for the home straight, waiting for the straight in towards turn 3, and I think Beaker's going to lose 2 positions. One on the actual home straight from Rainbow, and then another from Chan in towards turn 3. A little bit of a touch there between the Williams driver onto the Renault. Just need to keep it clean, don't touch that curb too much. Rainbow got a little bit too slow coming through that second to last. I think that touch from Chan actually stopped this overtake from happening, so now Now Rainbow might be able to work his magic on Beaker due to the DRS, and I don't think Chan's going to be able to get through, but he has got a time penalty for just running a little bit too deep in towards turn 1. Rainbow is, I think, just a bit too far back. Yes, he is. Beaker will hold on to race leads, at least for now.
Yeah, he's got to do something special. He's got to get a good run through turn 1 and 2, or just really wait till the last moment and just try some kamikaze move into turn 3. Just pray that Beaker will see him, I guess. But yeah, it's a tough track to overtake on us. Rainbow's going to get overtaken. He's made a little mistake here. Chan around the outside. Is he going to make it? Yes, he does. Before the braking zone locks up slightly. But yeah, one mistake, and he's dropped himself down a position, and I don't think he'll get that back with his aging tyres.
No, surely not. Luca did set a new fastest lap, by the way, just there. I don't know if you saw that. Actually, Dennis and Copy having a little bit of battle here. Copy has brought himself back ahead. It was an attempt there, and I think it backfired a little bit. Dennis has fallen back. In terms of the tyre difference, there's a mixture. It all seems to be coming down to the drivers themselves, because I've seen medium tyres on Rainbow, for example. Yeah, they're a little bit older, you know, they're going to be a little bit slower, but lose out to hard tyres. And I've seen another set of mediums from Spicy lose out to Vexit's hard tyres. In fact, Vexit is ready to go on Yonti.
Yeah, it seems fairly equal right now in terms of tyres, and Vexit does easy breezy, lemon squeezy. There we go, that's done. Yonti might get a little opportunity back, but obviously Vexit, oh, look how powerful that DRS is. But Spicy, down the inside of turn 3, forces the opening, makes the move. Yeah, you're down 2 in 2 corners there. That's a shame from him. But on the older tyres, he should have pit, but obviously forced onto that strategy with the hards on the opening. Wow.
But I mean, again, you know, turn 12, the chicane at turn 12 is a disastrous corner when it comes to some of these drivers. We may see another safety car yet, and if it does, medium's easy right now. Give it another 3 or 4 laps. Soft's easy right now. We've had a yellow flag in sector 1. That is Luca. Have I just jinxed it and we've got ourselves a safety car? We have not, but Luca will be finding himself a little trip to the pit lane as he has front right wing damage and a massive lockup to boot.
I tell you what, I think it'll be a pit and retire, to be honest. He's really been through the ringer. Great pace. Qualified on the front row, if you remember. It's just been an absolutely terrible race from him. Really awful.
I just want to just say how well Beaker has done to just resume the race after the safety car and hold on to race lead. I think it's going to be temporary because Chan looks like he's ready to go. He took a very wide line coming in towards turn 1, which was fine. He's got the DRS and the tow and DRS being fully deployed here. Yes, Beaker will lose out. Chan will become our race leader, and Rainbow's going to need to do more than that if he wants to keep up with Chan.
Yeah, I tell you what, he doesn't look out of place either. That's like the biggest compliment I could give him. It's not obvious that he's holding these guys up. I mean, Vexit down in P5, struggling to stay with his leading group. So he is there on merit. You know, he's got the pace. And
it makes you wonder what Bottas gang would have done and what could have done had he not actually had a mistake on the restart and lose the back end of the car. I think honestly, that all comes down to Bottas gang just not managing his tyre temperatures whilst we're in the safety car. He has to keep them up on those hard tyres, which were brand spanking new. The issue there is if you don't get them up to the temperature at the right time, or if you push that a little bit too hard, you're going to find yourself a problem. As Lucas just sped into the pit lane, I'm very surprised we've not seen that retire yet.
That might be the nail in the coffin for him, I'm not sure. Yeah, there we go.
it is.
And the Bottas gang almost going for a move there. Into the penultimate corner now, but he's lost a little bit of time there. And Bottas gang was flying through the field, but he's just come unstuck with Danny. I think it, DRS train not working to Bottas gang's advantage.
See, now Beaker's actually benefited massively from the fact that Chan's passed him. He's now in a position where he can, conserve his ERS, which is something that Beaker struggles with anyway. Every time I watch his race, he's always in the teens. He cannot seem to keep his ERS above anywhere near the 50% mark where you'd like it to stay if you can. Here comes Landos. That's going to be a send and a half on Dennis. He has to back out. That would have been a drastic send. He almost played Dennis for a fool. But Dennis says, nope, I've read this book before. I know what the plot is. I'm defending that. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, good driving from both of those. Enough respect to give each other the room and to back out of those moves and not take each other out. But Embassy's doing really well. He's supposed to close the gap. He's looking like he wants to take Rainbow on. Doesn't really need to. Net P2, and it's going to be a comfortable 1-2 for the Williams team as it stands. So maybe just be better served just holding on. Obviously, if Exit starts catching drastically, he'll have to try and make this move. But at the moment, there's no real need for him to try and overtake here.
Copy's gone for a move on Hazard. That was very close. They are literally wheel to wheel now. Into the third to last corner. Hazard's had to run wide because he was scared that Copy was going to force him into that scenario. Copy's going to take the outside run through here into the second to last corner. They are still wheel to wheel, but Copy will be the one that benefits, and this has also worked out.
Dennis
Wonders
around.
for Dennis.
Yeah, I was actually on board with Dennis to watch that battle, and he just loses it. He just drops it on that final corner. Like you said, it's so easy to do in this game. We've really got to feather the throttle in this game, and obviously the old guard not quite getting used to this new handling model.
Yeah, and his teammate Fragioko just made a mistake as well going into turn 4. That was just a bit too much. Ran a bit too wide there, and that allowed
Dennis retiring off track. Breaking his own rules there, Dennis.
Yeah, that's why he'll find himself in a lot of trouble. Luca has left the session now. His race was obviously done. There's a send it there. That's from Fragioko trying to get onto a Bottas gang. He's going to go around the outside here. He's actually made that work. Bottas gang will fall to P10. And the pace seems to have suddenly disappeared for Bottas gang. And a penalty to go with it. I saw that.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, he's done. He's had enough. He's right, that's it. I think he's retiring.
I'm not sure. I think maybe just, I don't know, had to go punch something quickly, but it looks like he's back now.
I hope for his sake he continues. It looks like he is. The back end. No, that's more frustration. I think he was already pretty tilted, to say the least. And having that spin as well through the final corner will have just pretty much added more salt and pressure to that wound, as here comes Danico and Yonti. Gives him a little bit of a McLaren flick. That was once trademarked by the commentator himself, David Fossetti Tante, and he just has made that work. He's up to P7. You got Yonti on the back of it too, and he might try and retaliate.
Those were the days. Those were the days. But glad to see it's carrying on. But I wish it was me doing it. I'm not gonna lie. And Verstappen in for soft tires. So he was one of those guys who did pit for the hards to the end, but obviously decided that he maybe wants to have a little bit of fun. He knows he's pretty much out of the running in this race. Why not?
So watch Beaker here. He's obviously 18 laps in, I think, roundabout now. Maybe one more lap on the hard tyres so he can chuck himself onto the softs. Now the question is, where did he come out? He will lose a lot of places due to the fact that everyone was bunched up, and they're actually quite close up in the grid overall. He's decided at least one more lap. We'll see if that's a problem. Bit of a back end kick out. Yeah, I think surely this has to be the final lap now for Beaker. You don't really want to be in this position if you can avoid it. It's not looking good.
Yes, well, I think Beaker's done everything he possibly can with the circumstances, with the hand he's dealt himself. I think he's done a great job, to be fair. He's only P2, and he's P2 on merit. He's not really... He's maybe starting to hold up Embassy and Rainbow, but, you know, Vexit's still struggling to stay with and struggling to catch up to him. So So he's done a decent job, and he's only just dropped out of that DRS to Chan.
Yeah, and obviously he's going to be on much better tyres. These guys are all going to be on very worn hards and mediums. Yonti is going to be the real sort of demonstration here as to just how good they are. 14.5 seconds from when he comes out of the pit lane. Obviously that's to the next driver, so he's got a lot of work to do and not a lot of time to do it. And he's going to need more than a couple of seconds per lap if he wants to get himself into a points position, as Embassy is looking for Rainbow. Is he going to take the outside line? This is so difficult to maneuver. Rainbow's just about giving him enough room, and Embassy will slot back in behind him in P4. This is a little bit risky to be playing these moves this early because Vexit has brought himself right onto the limit now of DRS. And Beaker stays out for another lap whilst Rainbow comes in.
Yeah, and, you know, we're giving credit to Beaker, but Rainbow's done the exact same length, the same stint on a lesser compound, on a softer compound. So big credit for Rainbow, because I'm pretty sure they're not supposed to do 19 laps.
And he actually looked pretty composed throughout the entire time he was on those mediums as well, even towards the end of its life. You'd have thought, you know, being 20 laps in on medium tyres, that the back end would have been a bit lively. You'd have been struggling to keep yourself consistent going through, especially chicane at turn 12. I keep saying about it because it's just so difficult when your tyre wear kicks in to keep that car pointing and still make the corner without losing a ridiculous amount of time. You know, fair play to him. He's really shown his true skill here.
Yep, but he's left himself with a hell of a job to do. Staben really gets the fastest lap as he's been on the softs for a couple of laps now. Jonty might take that away momentarily, but yeah, Rainbow has to pass every single one of these guys apart from his teammate Beaker.
Rainbow, well, Yonti has got penalties. That is one of the main issues. Beaker does have, I believe, one. Is Beaker going to actually come in this time? He has to pit, surely. I mean, well, he has to because he's not actually done a pit stop yet. He's still staying out. Does he not believe the softs can go far enough? Or does he not know that he hasn't pit yet?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he's just not convinced with the 10 laps on the soft. Obviously, his teammate is, Rainbow is, Staben is, but maybe Beaker's just enjoying the fight. I don't know.
Well, MC's trying to fight even harder. This is going to be a dive and a half. He's just about kept himself away from Beaker. Beaker gave him enough room, more than enough respect here, but that's cost him 3/10 just in that couple of corners alone. Even more than that now, because Beaker's 3 seconds away from Chan. That was 7/10 lost in just that one right-hander.
Yeah, and it's allowed Vexit right back in as well. He's only half a second. Well, he was half a second. And he goes for it again.
Oh,
another spin. A bit of a wheel bang. And, leaving his mark as well. And Beaker, not sure. That wasn't intentional. But definitely a Beaker blow. Trademarked. Maybe a couple, actually.
I know they came to blows yesterday with another driver as well alongside him involved in that situation.
Beaker's
going
back
for a send. That's never going to work. That was frustration send.
Yeah. Gets hot-headed. Yeah. The move never on. He needs to pit now. The tyres are cooked. If they weren't cooked anyway, they certainly are now anyway. Yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame. He did everything he had to.
He's still going. He's still
out.
going. He must not think he's pit. He must think he's already pit at some point. But this is only going to backfire for him here. If he did just pit at the same time Rainbow did, chucked himself onto those softs, he'd be chucking in lap times like what Rainbow's doing right now, and he would never have had that contact in the first place. And now Landers Milman had a little bit of a look there. He had a bit of a flick, but it was a bit too late. He wasn't expecting Beaker to be as slow as he was. Landers is trying to stick around the outside. This is going to be very difficult, and Beaker's just got on the inside curve a bit too much. This is surely going to end in tears. There's a little bit of wheel banging, and it's Beaker who will force his way through. He played chicken with Lando's Milkman, and Lando's blinked first.
I'm not sure why Beaker's doing this. I'm really not. I don't understand what's going through his head right now.
I don't think he knows. This is a very anger sort of drive now from Beaker. I've seen this many times where he sort of, yes, it was a very unsafe dive from Embassy, but at least Beaker was still pointing in the right direction at the end of it. Then he tried to retaliate by doing the exact same thing that Embassy did to him, But Beaker didn't do it in the same manner, and ends up getting rotated and effectively just gets karmed for his own move.
Yep. But yeah, why is he still out there? He should have pit. He should have pit 4 laps ago. He wouldn't have been in this situation then. And he stays out.
I've just no idea what his game plan is here.
Yep.
I mean, he's not pit. I don't know how else to tell him. He's been on the same set of tyres from the beginning. He hasn't pit. This is going to be a DQ. I mean, even if the game doesn't DQ him, surely the stewards are just going to go, well,
unlucky. Yep.
bad boy, you're getting DQ'd, mate.
Yeah. Now here comes Rainbow on Hazard, getting very close now. This is bringing him into 1 championship point. Obviously, that could be the deciding thing come 21 races from now.
Well, Lando's has gone for Beaker. I don't think there's going to be retaliation defense here. Now Beaker's decided, yeah, I probably should calm down now. Rightly so. I think it was very risky. Rainbow's going to go for a doubled overtake here. This is going to be huge down the inside. You've got Hazard trying to get in a three-way sandwich. Surely he's not going to make this work. He's trying to hold Hazard out to dry. Hazard is stuck out there through turn 11, now into turn 12. Beaker's now losing out as well. And Rainbow clearly making these soft tyres work. The DRS being a huge factor. And there's just a swing. No, there's contact. That was that Kartak?
That was Beaker and Kartak. Kartak had some incredible pace from nowhere as everyone was fighting. Beaker comes across to defend, but he comes across too late. Whether he was defending from Kartak or Lando's Milkman, I'm not sure. Maybe he just didn't see Kartak, but yeah, big damage for Kartak as he comes into the pits. So does Beaker now.
Yeah, that was I don't know, Beaker's race went from being really good and really well performed, but still going to be having issues when he eventually went into the pits, to now just straight up a tragedy. Yonti, who was miles behind, is ahead of Beaker now and is going to be ahead by quite a large margin.
I'm lost for words. I was so full of praise for him earlier. He was running a really great race and just completely lost his head.
Yep. Yeah, it has
another
indeed.
Time for Yonti.
Oh, Lando's just made a mistake there. His back end kicked out just a bit too much. 23 laps in on these hards will show you exactly how hard this race is going to be for him. He might even get a puncture if he's not careful. I imagine that this corner is going to be hard for him now and very scary. Definite code browns for him. At Rimba, he's trying to paint those code browns a nice little stretch of red, orange, yellow, pink, and green. And a little bit of a nudge there onto the back of Lando's Milton's Red Bull. Into the inside here. He's going to have to surrender this corner, surely. But he's kept his nose still in there. He's still alongside of him. He's still going for a move back onto him. Back up into PA. It was a bit of a dive, but at the same time, he's held onto it. And this is the position he has to hold him back. And Hazard might be able to gain something out of this.
Yeah, it's forced him out of road there. I mean, if this was real F1, you'd be hearing some team radios by now. But ooh, little wiggle from Rainbow as well. He might not get him down into turn 3, but I think he's going to go for the outside and with a superior grip. But once again, no, it gives him enough space that time, Lando's Milkman, and just seems to have too much grip for him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very fair but firm squeeze to the outside there from Lando's. Rainbow was trying to then give him the nudge back in again, say, look, give me some more room, I want some more room, despite the fact that he had enough, just about, but he's surely going to get him. Yeah, he's looking for the inside. This is going to be a hard braking zone. This is going to be a send and a half. A little bit of contact between them, but they've kept themselves both on the circuit. Again, another wobble there, and now here comes Hazard on Lando's. I don't think Lando's can defend this at all. Hazard just has that little bit more grip by having 5 laps younger tyres, and Lando's Milkman is now clinging on to a final point position.
Yeah, it's a shame though, because Rainbow, he was really weaved his way through the last group perfectly, but just got stuck behind Lando's Milkman. Lando's Milkman getting those bad exits, but oh, and there's a spin. There's a spin. Spicy in the pits. Front left puncture. So 19 laps on the mediums. Copy also on 19 laps on the mediums. Well, he's now on 20, but yeah, Spicy, he just blew a front left and lost it in the pit lane and crashed.
Yeah, he's also got himself a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane and a wing replacement to boot. His race, which was looking pretty cozy, pretty good, has suddenly just gone completely to bits. And that is the nature about F1, which makes it so exciting. It can go so smoothly for you. And then literally like a pin, you can hit the deck and suddenly your race is just in bits.
Yep, absolutely. But I'm just worried about Copy now. He's got a couple of more laps to go. We've seen Spicy puncture. That surely must mean Copy's in the zone as well. There's not much you can do to preserve that front left on a track like this.
Yeah. I mean, bear in mind, Rainbow did 20 laps when he decided to come off those medium tyres. So 20 laps, and he was still keeping pace. I think it's more about just how much, what the car setup looks like. Although that looks like a front left is about to go on Copy's car. I'm just going to stay on board with him a second, just to see it. The way that car, the tyre was moving. I don't know, maybe if I'm just hallucinating, maybe looking a bit too far into things, but his tyre looked like it was ready to just go pop, and off he went. The rubber on that tyre is, you can see the, on the inside of it, it looks pretty worn. I mean, again, I might be hallucinating, but I'm expecting this to just explode at any second.
We'll see. He's not got much left to do, so he'll be praying it doesn't. But Rainbow closing in now on Copy. He's gained about a second and a half last lap. That does mean that he will be pretty much on Copy for the last corner of the last lap.
Would you like some spicy information?
I would like some spicy information.
Our current race leader, Chan, has 6 seconds of penalties. Embassy has 0.
Oh, that is a spicy little bit of information.
And Vex is here as well to try and fight. He has 3 seconds of penalties, so realistically, Vexit has a scenario on his hands where he's going to lose the P2 no matter what, no matter how hard he fights. The only way he gets P2 out of this is if he can cause Embassy to make a mistake by the amount of pressure he's applying, make Embassy get a penalty, and then Vexit needs to physically pass him on the circuit. And we are now about to start our final lap of this Grand Prix. Chan is leading, but he's just about in the penalty range for Embassy. So this is bad news bears for him if he can't pull off another 10th or 2. And Vex is looking to really make this hard for Embassy. I don't actually know if Embassy can defend this. Although there's a bit of a mistake there from Vexit. It's not allowed him to attack. And yes, he's backed off already. So Embassy just needs to maintain the gap to Chan.
But the thing is, if Vexit does attack him at any point during this lap, there's no way Embassy's going to retain that gap unless Chan makes some sort of mistake to counter it. So Embassy needs a drama-free lap, basically.
Yeah. And also needs to be as good as, if not better than Chan in order to maintain this. But yeah, Vexit is very close to the gearbox of Embassy. Whether or not he knows this, whether or not he knows the penalty situation or not, whether he's praying that Embassy's got it clean. There's a lot of pace momentum gained here for Vexit. Surely he's waiting for that next DRS zone. I think he's going to send it, but look at the time, look at the delta. It's just about on that 6-second margin. Chan's just about clear, but now Vexit, is he going to go try around the outside? Embassy's going to lose out, or he's not. But I think Embassy's got a compromised line, which he's going to lose in the 6 seconds. There it is. We are literally talking less than a 10th between them, and somehow Embassy needs to pull out half a 10th just to bring himself back into the margin. This is going to go all the way down to the wire.
Big wiggle by Chan. Big wiggle by Chan through the final corner. Just needs to get a good exit.
Is he going to get it?
Close.
He's no. He
3
hasn't got
milliseconds.
it. He hasn't got
And
it.
here comes Rainbow.
So
like
close.
I said, last corner. Rainbow, last corner. He nudges Copy. He bumps him across the line, unfortunately, so he's going to miss out on P6. He does leapfrog Aniko on penalties. Yeah, Fragioko P4.
Who'd have thought that?
Where did that come from? So
3,000th of a second.
Aniko.
Literally separated who got the win or not. Embassy will be kicking himself with just how close he was to taking that win.
I think that was Vexit as well.
Wow.
I think he'll be kicking Vexit as well. Compromised his line. And yeah, well, a lot of ifs and buts during that final lap. 3 milliseconds, but it is a Williams 1-2. And a very well-deserved one, but Fragioko P4. And Rainbow, a great drive for him to get P6 as well. Almost P5 as well.
That was insane. That was absolutely insane. I don't think I've ever actually seen a race where penalties have been included that have come that close. 0.003 of a second literally separated the two. And it's still, regardless, it's a Williams 1-2, which is fantastic from a constructor's perspective. And also fantastic from Embassy's perspective. I mean, he's had, you know, a bit of a hard race this race. He did have one moment in particular which the stewards may want to have a bit of a word with him about. But, you know, I guess we'll see whether or not that pays off later for him or not. But still, what a result for Williams.
Yeah, brilliant. And, yeah, thoroughly deserved. Unlucky for Bottas gang, obviously. Unlucky for Luca as well. But, you know, they were consistent. They were really solid. No mistakes apart from chance penalties, of course. But yeah, I mean, consistency once again beats outright pace.
Well, let me do a little grid rundown as how they finish off, whilst you have a think about who you believe deserves Driver of the Day. As Chan will take that win literally just ahead of Embassy, who finished in P2. Vexit, obviously, P3. He did a lot of efforts there on Embassy to try and make that work, but realistically, he was trying to force Embassy to make a penalty to then try and benefit his own race, and that slightly backfired just a touch. For Embassy and caused him to lose out on the race win. Fred Joker P4, that is a bit of a surprise result. He's done a very good job of keeping himself clean, along with Copy, who gains himself 2 positions and puts himself P5. Rainbow P6, also with the best lap of the session. He started last, bear in mind, so it's a massive gain for him. Could have been better, I think, but still a solid result overall. Danico P7 with Hazard there in P8. Lando's Millen P9. Yonti getting the final point with Beaker getting best of the rest. And ultimately, that could have been a much better result for him had he not been that little bit too aggressive. You know, I understand why he felt frustrated, but the retaliation was just not the answer. Verstappen in P12, Spicy P13, Kartak P14, Jacobo P15, Bottas Gang, Dennis, Luca, Jay, and Azia are all the DNFers of this race. Driver of the Day, who you got?
Rainbow. It's between him and Fragioco, but I'm going to go Rainbow. It was a brave strategy call for him to stay out, give himself that track position, get himself into third during that safety car, and yeah, made full advantage. A brave strategy call, and he had to really keep it absolutely nailed through that final stint on the softs. He just did a really solid job.
Yeah, and I have to agree, to be honest. I think I would have given it to Beaker had he managed to maintain where he was earlier and not actually just get that a little bit too far up. But, you know, other than that, yeah, Rainbow smashed it, definitely deserves it. Getting from P20 all that way up their field and still maintaining fastest lap as well. A really, really good shot from him. I do want to see him, though. I do want to see him actually do something in qualifying next week, because I think had he done that, that would have been a race win for him, or at least a P2.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just needs to get his consistency together. I mean, he clearly had the pace, but yeah, very unlucky.
And on that note, it is time to end. Thank you for joining us in the European Racing Series Race 1 back in Australia. We'll look forward to seeing you next week in Bahrain, and it's going to be an absolute stonker.